Namaste. Should you continue to live in a toxic atmosphere? This is a question which comes up many times nowadays, and today in this video we are going to look at this aspect of life. There are times when things become a little bad in a person's life, and the whole atmosphere becomes negative and it looks like it's filled with toxic energy. So sometimes people ask me, they say the atmosphere in my house is so toxic and I don't know what to do. Do you think I should still continue? So let us look at a few examples. There was one family where there were two brothers. Both were married, both had children, and their parents also were with them. So it was a joint family, the mother, father and the two sons with their wives and two children. So this was the setup. And somehow or the other, initially things were going well, but somehow or the other, slowly there began a lot of some negative feelings, maybe a little bit of jealousy, because one brother was in a very good job, the other brother's income was not so much. So all this must have contributed to it. And then the wives of the brothers, both these wives, the co-sisters we call them, they were all the time quarreling. They could not get along at all, and they were complaining to their husbands. Now what was happening is, this was making the brothers also become very negative towards each other because of whatever their respective wives told them. And the mother also was, she was also adding to it, because when they went and spoke to her, she used to tell them, this happened, your wife spoke like this, the other one's wife spoke like this, and things like that. So all together there was so much negativity that there were quarrels almost every day. And the children, there were 4 children, small kids, two each for each of the brothers, and those children were living almost in fear, because every time they come back from school they would hear this loud noise, a lot of shouting and talking, and once their fathers came home then it becomes even more. So children were almost totally in fear. So that was the stage at which one of the brothers met me, and he explained all this to me, and he said, see, I never wanted to break my family. I wanted us to live in this setup as a joint family, so that our children have the benefit of being with my brother and his children, and also my parents. I thought that is the best setup, but then now I'm just not able to take it. He says, every day just going home is like a nightmare for me. And with my wife also, I'm not able to pacify her, I'm not able to pacify my brother and my brother's wife, and everybody is in their own anger. So everything is becoming very, very difficult, and the whole atmosphere in the house is so toxic, I can't even sit and eat peacefully, he said. So in this kind of a situation, I'm now thinking of moving out of that house and finding a separate house and living there. So do you think my decision is right? This is what he asked. So I said, see, breaking a joint family is not the best thing. I wouldn't advise it generally. I would definitely advise you to try even a little longer and try to stay together, definitely, because that's something which is diminishing nowadays. We hardly have joint families. But then when the atmosphere is so toxic and it's not letting anyone live in peace, then there is absolutely no point in trying to continue it. Living peacefully is much more important. If there is a little bit of distance between the two brothers, then perhaps there will be no quarrels, and perhaps that love between them can still be saved. It can still be, nurtured. So this is what I told him. That was one example. Then there was another, now there's one more example. There, the person who came to meet me, it was actually a couple. They met me and they said, see, we have built our own house, and it's just 2 years since they shifted into that house. It's an independent house. It is a residential area, and they thought it will be a very good idea to construct a house there, and they constructed and came. But they said that from the day we shifted to our new house, we have been finding it very, very difficult, because they said we like to move nicely with the neighbors and make friends with them. So we went to the people in the opposite house, and we tried to invite them to our house. We spoke to them, but they somehow never spoke to us properly. And on the other two sides also there are houses. They said we went to their houses and invited. They did come, and we have a kind of a very cordial relationship with them. There's no problem. But the house which was just opposite their house, they said we really cannot understand why, but they keep on troubling us in so many different ways. The wife said every morning she does the kolam in front of her house. She does a beautiful design. And she said, I would do it at 5:30 or 5:15 in the morning. But by 7:30, if I just come out for something, I can see that they have thrown garbage on the kolam. That is the extent to which they try to trouble them. And the road is like, it's a 20 feet road, but across that street they throw whatever they can, papers and things like that. And it happens every other day, so I know that it's not accidental, it is being done purposely. And sometimes they purposely park their car just in front of these people's gate, so that they can't take out their car and they can't take out their scooter or their bikes, and all kinds of problems that way. And then she said, one day I was so shocked. She said, there was a person who was selling fish. He brought fish on a bike and he was selling, and the people opposite had bought the fish, and they asked this man to clean the fish and give, and he was cleaning it near these people's gate. This lady said, see, we are pure vegetarians, we don't eat non-veg, we don't eat fish. And when I came out of the house, I thought something was smelling very bad, but when I came out, I saw this happening. I asked him, why are you doing it here? He said, the opposite house they have purchased and they asked me to clean. Okay, you clean, but why don't you go near their house and clean? And by the time that lady came out and said, he is doing it only on the road, it's not inside your house, so you cannot question me. So you can understand that they're purposely creating problems for whatever reason. We don't even understand the reason. And the husband said, see, the whole atmosphere has become like this, that we feel scared to come out of the house, because every time we come out of our house, we see something or the other being done like this, and it totally puts us off. He said, particularly when I'm leaving for my work in the morning, I see something like this and it just puts me off completely. But since we have built the house, we really don't know what to do. And I said, did you ever try talking to them? He said, see, once or twice I waved out to that gentleman. I said hi, but he just turned off his face. I really don't know why. He said, it's becoming impossible. Now, we are even considering selling this house and moving to some other area and either building or buying a different house and going. He said, I started looking out, but she says, why should we move from this house because of those people? But I said, how long can we live like this? This is not going to change. So that kind of a toxic atmosphere definitely makes you want to move away from there, because it's not always that you can go and talk to a person and sort out things. Sometimes it's better to move out. When you don't want to be in that negative energy, you don't want to experience that toxic energy every day, the best is to move out if you can. There was another example. This gentleman was working in a different city from his hometown. So he was staying in an apartment with 3 friends. They were all sharing. So each had a different room. There were 4 bedrooms. Each had his own room. But the cooking and all that was common. So they were able to manage like that. But he said, these 3 people are very rough people. He said, I never expected it will be like this. He said, someone recommended, and that's why I took up this accommodation. But work is good, everything else is good. But I'm just not able to manage with these people. He said, they're all the time talking about women and very rockers and shouting all the time and loud music. He said, even if I close my door and go off into my room, I can still hear whatever they are talking and all the noise that they are making. Then he said, most of the time they are all sitting together watching porn. And one day they had brought a woman home also. He said, suddenly when I came out to fill my water bottle, I saw some lady there at about 10 o'clock in the night. He said, I was so shocked. And then when I asked them who that lady is, none of them gave me a proper answer. He said, I quickly went into my room and locked myself inside and I slept. But he said, I'm feeling very unsafe and I'm feeling very uncomfortable in this company. Although they don't trouble him in any way, everything else is going on. But he says sometimes they tease me because I don't join them in whatever they are doing and I'm busy with my work. So they keep on telling me I'm wasting my life, I'm wasting my youth and all that. He said, I'm feeling very uncomfortable in this kind of company and I'm thinking of moving out from there. But then some other colleagues in the office are saying, it's a good apartment, there's no other problem. You have a separate room, everything is there. Why do you want to shift because of the other people? They may also change, somebody might go, some other person might come, but then you never know when it will happen. So this person was saying, will it be right for me to shift? I said, see, definitely, if your day-to-day life becomes difficult to endure, and if there is a possibility of moving out of that situation, that is the best thing, because living in that kind of a negative energy and all the time fearing about what is going to happen, what they might be doing, or what they might be, saying about you, talking about you, all that is, it's not the best way to live. Then I said, see, your mind is going to be filled with only this filth. And even in your office, you will be worrying about this, you will not be able to concentrate on your work. And he agreed. He said, yes, of late I am seeing my concentration on my work is coming down. I am not able to perform as I used to before, because all the time I am getting worried about what's happening here in the apartment. So I said, then if the atmosphere is that toxic for you, then the best thing would be to move out. If possible, look out for some other either paying guest accommodation or whatever you can, some other apartment like this, or if you can be on your own also, that will be even better. So that way, there are times in life when if the atmosphere becomes very toxic like this and you are unable to bear it, the best solution would be to move out from there and not try to sort it out, maybe it doesn't happen. Of course, again here I must also mention that there are relationships from which you cannot move out easily. See, if it's your own children or husband and wife, then probably you have to endure it in a different way, make your mind think in a different way, or whatever you can do. And of course our alpha techniques are there, you can talk to their subconscious mind, shower colors on them, all that you can do. But in these examples that I mentioned, when it goes beyond all that, you don't really have to endure so much. So when it comes to that, the best thing would be to try and move away from there and find a place where you can live in your own positive energy, because ultimately that is the base for everything. Only if your energy, in the energy in which you are living is positive, your mind can work positively and many good things can happen to you. So think about it, reflect on it, and make changes in your life if necessary.